Hi everybody, this is Carla with Cobweb Corner and welcome to another episode of Sampler Sunday. This is a channel about cross stitch, and in my full FlossTube episodes I talk about my personal stitching, things going on in the industry, and my online cross stitch shop. But on Sampler Sunday I pull anywhere from 9 to 13 or 14 different samplers and share those with you. So welcome if you're new, and today's topic is going to be Adam and Eve or Garden of Eden samplers. And before I start, I wanted to let you know that if you're interested in the history of samplers, I highly recommend this set of books. It's called Girlhood Embroidery, American Samplers and Pictorial Needlework, 1650 to 1850. And I will try to put a link below that references this book in my Amazon shop. But this one is just on American samplers, and it's a 2-volume set. And there's a couple sections in that, in the volumes on biblical and Adam and Eve samplers. But the way the volumes work is they break the samplers out by location. So they have Boston samplers, New York samplers, things like that. But I wanted to just show you a couple representations of Adam and Eve samplers from the book. And then it talks a lot about what school mistress designed those samplers, some of the histories behind those. So if this is something you're interested in, you like reading more about historical samplers, especially with our history in America, then this is a 2-set volume that I highly recommend. So I'm going to start now. I didn't have very many Adam and Eve samplers in stock on my site. I was actually quite surprised. And a few of them, there's like 3 or 4 by Plum Street Samplers and a couple by Shakespeare Peddler. So there's not a lot of variety of designers here, but I picked some good ones and I hope you enjoy them. The first one I'm going to share, because the designer gives quite a bit of background, is Maria Finney, 1813, Adam and Eve's House. And this is a reproduction sampler. So the top part here has, here if I can get a pointer here, has the Adam and Eve at the bottom of the tree, and the snake is right there. And then this one has 2 angels above. And then down here is a house. And I'm assuming that that's supposed to be Adam and Eve's house in the Garden of Eden. So there's a little bit of a write-up here. So this will take a couple minutes, but I think it's really interesting. And I love when the designers give some background about their designs. It says, Adam and Eve samplers are ubiquitous. In fact, some stitchers love to focus on stitching and collecting them. Many old samplers revolve around biblical stories and themes. And I think the whole idea of a garden with that central tree with a serpent circled round works well in needlework. Flowers, animals, trees, figures, and in this case a house, they're all fun to stitch. I purchased this sampler from a seller on eBay in 2018. I seem to remember it was a buy it now, and I paid about $450 for it. The original is in great shape. Maria was only 8 years old when she stitched this sampler, and she did a great job. Her tension is nice, and apart from making some errors in counting threads, everything is pretty well put together. Her sampler is worked in silks, but to make this piece more economical to stitch, I chose muted shades of over-dyed threads. You may notice that the alphabet and her name are difficult to read. That's how the original looks today. I like to reproduce samplers to look like the antiques with muted colors and missing stitches, rather than try to create them as they may have looked back when they were new. Not only is the needlework fun to do and fun to look at in these pleasing shades, sorry, I lost my place, but also I think it's important to remember that samplers are part of our history as stitchers. These girls are our sisters, and so their works are a little shabby. Just like the Velveteen Rabbit, they have been loved. The more faded a sampler is, the more that sampler was actually hung and admired. You can, of course, choose to stitch the alphabet, name, and age in another color. The IP and SP at the end of the sampler would most likely have been relatives of hers with the same last name. I don't often feel pulled towards symmetrical samplers, but I don't like stitching the same motif more than once. But this sampler isn't too large and it's so charming. I love the little shots of teal blue here and there with the browns and greens. And the off-white makes the sampler feel fresh and almost springy. And I guess that I never really thought about whether or not Adam and Eve had a house. I mean, wouldn't this little cottage have been perfect? Anyway, I had a lot of fun putting this chart together for you, and I hope the project brings you many happy hours with your needle and thread. I'm sure sweet Maria would be astounded to know how many people would admire her work after the year 2000. So that is Maria Finney, 1832, Adam and Eve's house. And that is, let's see, they have a stitch count. It's 221 by 234. And the model was stitched on 36 count straw by Weeks Dye Works using Classic Colorworks and Weeks Dye Works threads with the DMC conversion provided. So, and the stitcher's name, or the designer's name, is Teresa Vinette of Shakespeare's Peddler. So I wanted to start with that one just because the designer gave such a good background on that. The next one isn't really a sampler, but like I said, I couldn't find very many Adam and Eve charts in stock on my site. So I went ahead and pulled this because it is kind of funny. It's A is for Adam and Eve from the biblical series of Fancy That. And you can see 2 buttons were called for Adam and Eve. And this was published in 1995. The designers were Beth Henslick and Carol Kindler. And the buttons were by Albe Creations, A-L-B-E. But they put a little tiny, I don't want to show the whole design, but a little tiny Adam and Eve chart that you can stitch Adam and Eve if you want to. So it's got all of your basic, don't know if you can see on here, the snake is going up this long tree here, and then you've got the apples over there. So A is for Adam and Eve, and that's by Fancy That. The next one is one of a few by Plum Street Samplers, and it's called Fruit of the Spirit, and I'm actually not positive this is an Adam and Eve sampler, but let me show it to you and you tell me what you think. It says the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace. And it's, let me see, this was published in 2007 by Paulette Stewart. And this is the sampler. And the reason I think it's an Adam and Eve is I think that's Adam and Eve right there, because they don't really have very many clothes on. So Adam just has shorts on, and Eve, it's kind of hard to tell. She's got at least a skirt or something on the bottom. And then this looks like an apple, but you know, it could also be a heart. So let me know in the comments below if you agree. My first thought was that was Adam and Eve. That is Fruit of the Spirit by Plum Street Samplers, and it is 145 stitches wide by 103 high, and a model was stitched on 32 count vintage sand dune using 1 strand of silk over 2 linen threads, unless noted. And it was stitched in needlepoint silks, and there is a DMC conversion provided. So that is Fruit of the Spirit by Plum Street Samplers, and the designer is Paulette Stewart. The next one is by Blackbird Designs, and it's in a booklet, and it's Shall I Compare Thee to a Summer's Day? So this is what the booklet looks like. And all of the charts in this booklet were based on this original Adam and Eve sampler. So this one actually, it's it says, this wonderful antique sampler is the inspiration for all projects in our booklet. Although we have made some changes to the piece, we hope we have maintained the charm which captured our attention. We hope you love it just as much as we do. Now, actually, this is Jesus on the cross, and I don't know if that's supposed to be Eve or what, but inside the sampler, or inside the book, they have different designs: Eve's sewing box, Eve's pin keep, the gift is small, the gift sewing box, shall I compare thee to a summer's day, darling buds of May, painting, and how to paint the sewing box. So I believe that figure that I showed you was Eve, because this is Eve's pin keep here. And the main sampler that they do is this one. So all of these are their take on that original sampler. And I believe, again, that's Adam and Eve with the fig leaves, and Eve's holding the apple. And the other designs in this book, see, we've got the Eve's pin keep, which I already showed you. And then the gift is small. Sewing box, and then we've got the main one. And then this is from it's called Darling Buds of May. Isn't that beautiful? And that's this part of the original samplers where they derived that from. And that one is 92 by 81 inches, so it can be made into a small pin pillow. And that's it. So you get the all of those. So this main one and this one, and then another couple of real small ones. And they're based on that sampler there. So those are by Blackbird Designs. And Blackbird Designs does that quite a bit, where they'll take an original sampler and kind of do their take, and they always end up providing multiple things that you can do based on that original sampler. So shall I compare thee to a summer's day, and that was published in 2018. The next one is also by Plum Street Samplers, and this one is really unique. This one's called Merfolk's Eden, and this one is mermaids in their Garden of Eden. So you've got this, you got the two Adam and Eve mermaids here, and then this is the tree, and then it's got the sea snake going up the tree. Isn't that interesting? It's just total kind of a fractal style, completely unique. And that was published in 2018 and designed by Paula Stewart. And it is 192 stitches wide by 111 high. And the model was stitched on 36 count Nantucket Brew by R&R Reproductions. And it was stitched with Classic Color Works and Weeks Dye Works with a DMC conversion provided. So that is Merfolk's Eden. Next one is also very unique. It's called Kel's Eden by Long Dog Samplers. And look at this. Isn't that amazing? So here's the tree with the snake and Adam and Eve, and then all the animals in the garden. I just think that is so cool. I don't know what style that is. It's not, I don't know what Kel is, so if somebody knows what style that is, let me know. I'm trying to get the stitch count here. And this is it looks pretty complicated, and it is big, but it's a lot. There's no confetti in here, so like all of this light brown that you see, that's all the same color. And in here, so you do a lot of stitching in the same color. Doesn't mean it's not big, but it's not you know, it's not lots of confetti. And I'm not seeing what I did with, oh, here we go. Let's see. It was stitched, it's stitched in DMC, and I'm not seeing a stitch count. I'm sorry, if I find a stitch count, I will post that down below, but I am not seeing the stitch count here. One more page. Nope. So, oh, here it is on the cover. It is 270 stitches wide by 369 stitches high. So that's big, but you're not constantly changing colors, and that tends to help it go pretty fast. And then this area in the white is all negative space, so you don't stitch there. But isn't that unique? And the next one I really like too. This is called Last Day in Paradise, and it's by Paradise Stitchery. And it says, in the beginning, God made Adam and Eve, but in his word they did not believe. So by the serpent's cunning they fell, and so goes the rest of mankind as well. But look at this sampler. Isn't that beautiful? And this is what I love about it. Instead of having a snake, they have the tree twisted like a snake. And I think that is so unique. And then they have a really neat variety of trees. They've got the willow trees, some pines, and the lots and lots of leaf detail. I can imagine that would take a while to stitch. This beautiful border, and they've got more different tree motifs up here with sheep in the meadow, and then you've got a deer in a young deer and a heron. Just really, really unique. So that, oh, and the other thing I like about this is a lot of times Adam and Eve are holding hands, but here they're embracing and they just look like they're in love. So I love this Adam and Eve sampler, and it is 395 stitches wide by 249 stitches high, and it was stitched with Classic Colorworks, Weeks Dye Works, Gentle Arts, and DMC. The model was stitched on 28 count raw natural casual linen by Zweigert. And I'm trying to see who the, I think this designer is Jenny Hannawalt. So it says, welcome to Paradise Stitchery. We hope you enjoy our pattern, Last Day in Paradise. On the left of Adam and Eve is the tree of life, and on the right is the tree of knowledge of good and evil. As you can see, good and evil are fighting in the tree itself, with evil contorting God and vice versa. Since humans were the pinnacle of God's creation, all of the birds and animals are facing Adam and Eve, except for the two sheep with their backs turned toward them, representing the coming disobedience. The weeping willow in the distance behind the tree of knowledge foreshadows the sorrow of the coming to mankind. Genesis says that after Adam and Eve ate the fruit of the tree of knowledge, then the eyes of both of them were opened. Consequently, only the animals near the tree of knowledge have eyes. The animals near the tree of life have no eyes, and because this is a snapshot of paradise before the fall, Adam and Eve did not have eyes yet either. The dove, representing the Holy Spirit, is hovering near the tree of knowledge, symbolic of God's plan of redemption to save mankind from evil. Everyone is at rest except the dove, as only God can save us from our sins. The serpent, as befits his sneaky character, is hidden, preparing for his move on the innocent Adam and Eve. Can you find him? There is no symbolism in this piece. There is more symbolism in this piece, but we will let you have fun discovering it. So I was wrong about the tree. I don't know where the snake is. Oh, it might be right down here. There's kind of a squiggly thing, but I assume this was a representation of the snake, but it's actually good and evil fighting each other according to the designer. So isn't that explanation of her design just amazing? So that is Last Day in Paradise by Paradise Stitchery. That is a really neat design. The next one is, I think, my favorite. It is Paradise Lost by Plum Street Sampler. And look at the colors in that, and look at, it's just so unique. It's got so many things in it. It says, what is this that thou hast done? Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field. Ye shall not surely die. And it's got A and E for Adam and Eve up here, but and the types of animals, the giraffe, the lion, and these tall, the different trees here. And then there, of course, is the snake and Adam and Eve. I just love this. And this is called Paradise Lost. And this was published, let's see, in 2009 by Paulette Stewart. And it is, let's see, 417 stitches wide by 190 high. And the sampler was stitched on 36 count vintage light exemplar using 1 strand of silk over 2 linen threads. And the fabric was by Lakeside Linens. And it was stitched in needlepoint silks and Gloriana silks. There is a DMC conversion provided. Whoops, sorry, didn't mean to show you the chart. So that is Paradise Lost. The next one is also by Plum Street Samplers, and it is original design and antique adaptation by Paulette Stewart. It's called Caroline Broomhead and her little 1838 and her little friend's pin keep. So this is the sampler. It's got the snake in the tree, and let's see, there's Adam and Eve here. And then it's got all different kinds of flower motifs and a shepherd here. So this one says, I chose to change the color palette of Caroline's sampler because the reverse side of the original had so many colors not seen on the front, including purple and turquoise. And I wanted to try a softer palette. So this is kind of opposite of what the first sampler designer said. She wanted it to look antique, and this one chose to get the colors from the back where it's less faded. So that is the original. Sorry, it's not very good picture. And then this is Paulette's adaptation. So let's see. It says the sampler is 216 wide by 168 high, and the pin keep, which is right there, is 140 wide by 62 high. And this was stitched on 36 count Legionnaire Latte, and the pin keep was stitched on 36 count American Chestnut, both from R&R Reproductions, and it was stitched with Classic Colorworks silk. And there is a DMC conversion provided. And the last one is by Shakespeare's Peddler again, and it's called Jenny Bean's Creation Sampler. And it says, God said, let there be light, and there was light. And God said it was good. And then at the very bottom it says, I am the light of the world. So this is the sampler. Got Adam and Eve down here with the tree. Let's see if there's a snake in the tree. I do not see a snake. And this one is 115 wide by 260 high, and it was stitched on 40 count vintage pear by Lakeside Linens using Gentle Arts sampler threads with the DMC conversion provided. So that was pretty much everything I had for Adam and Eve samplers in stock on my site that I could pull from. And I hope you enjoyed that. I thought it was an interesting theme to choose for the day. Thanks for watching. And if you enjoyed it, please subscribe and then hit the bell button so you get notified of new videos when I upload them. And happy stitching, everybody. Bye-bye.